Alright folks, welcome back to the Boys Green YouTube channel. It's time for a post-match reaction to Borussia Dortmund 7, Celtic 1 in match day 2 of the Champions League as Celtic are outclassed in Germany tonight. I'm joined by Nathan and Alistair. How you doing, Nathan?
Cool.
Alistair, how you doing?
Searching for the antidepressants, to be honest with you.
Aye, it was... I want to say a typical away night for Celtic in Europe, but it was a match that a lot of us went in with a decent amount of anticipation. We considered the start to the season and who we'd brought in, but Alistair, it was the same. It was just the same match we've seen in a different stadium, pretty much against a different opposition.
Yeah, and I'm no overreacting when I say this, Josh. I'm relieved it was only 7,
Aye,
to be honest. I'm totally relieved it was only 7. And I shouldn't feel like that. And to be honest, the manager's got to take the blame for that.
aye. But it was just now. I've I watch German football quite regularly and watch Dortmund quite regularly. Anybody who watches a slight bit of German football would know that you don't let Julian Brandt, Adeyemi, and players like Gittins and Grassi run the run the show. And Nathan, that is exactly what we done.
I mean, I just don't have any words to describe the way that we were actually set up. It just baffles me.
To be honest, I don't think we were set up in any sort of way, and I will go on to that later on. It was just, I could tell by the first 2 or 3 minutes where we got away with it before the penalty, and it was just a run and the defence every time, especially in that first half, where Dortmund came forward. Alistair, I say 6 and 7 trying to defend, we didn't even bother trying to track back or defend.
No. Do you know what the tactics look like? Stay high and don't come back, and the midfield and the defence and the fullbacks were all left exposed, and they
Aye.
just ran over the top of us.
And like, this is, we're not talking about Real Madrid here, right? And I know it's a bit rich because Borussia Dortmund have just pumped to 7-1. But I would fear if it was Real Madrid.
It's not even. It's not even that. It's the reason we brought Rodgers back is to compete in Europe, and this is what we get. He's been back. You can't blame the board. You can't blame anything else but the manager and the players.
Aye. I think Rodgers' style of play, especially in Europe over these 2 spells, has always brought questions. Like domestically, as we've seen at the start of the season, has been phenomenal. We've played some really good stuff, but that doesn't go to say that you just completely flip a style and change it like completely for Europe. But there's something called having a plan B. And the problem is with us at the moment is we don't seem to have a plan B when it comes to these European away days. So if you look at, for instance, Atletico Madrid, it was last year. If you go back to 2013, we have lost the Champions League game by 5 or more goals on at least one occasion. In 2018, we've done it twice against PSG. We've been hammered off Barcelona twice in that time. We've been hammered off Atletico Madrid, and now we've been hammered off of Borussia Dortmund. A Borussia Dortmund side, Chad, as well, who are in transition. Still Borussia Dortmund, I completely understand that. They were good tonight as well. But
enough a rookie manager.
A manager who's not been in the game in terms of managerial, who's not been in the game a while, and that's not being so grapes. It's worrying, to be honest. And I felt that for a while in Celtic in Europe. I just don't see how we go and pick up away wins in Europe, or even results or performances in Europe, with the way that we seem to set up when it comes to these games. Now, I don't know if it's a player thing, Nathan. I don't know if we seem to freeze, but it was the same under Ange. It's been the same under Rodgers.
Aye.
We
Well,
just seem to freeze when it seems talks about going away to these tricky venues. Now, see if we lost 3-1 tonight, but we were all right. We're compact, and it wasn't a thumping. Fair enough. The confidence hasn't been dented, and we move on to bigger games. But I did say, I think we all said was, if it starts to become 6 or 7, then that's where the issue lies, because we've not learned, and that's exactly what's happened. We
well,
have not learned at all.
I look at, not even Rodgers' recent, press conferences, but his old ones, where he says the number one thing in Europe is to be hard to beat. When have Celtic away from home ever been hard to beat? Because I can't recall any circumstance where we've been hard to beat, to be honest. And that's the number one thing. You look at the start of the game, we're playing passes when our man's got 3 men round them. We're kicking the ball into the middle of the pitch. The wingers are getting the ball and then they're just, kicking it in. I thought my header played actually pretty decent, but Kuhn was getting the ball and just kicking it in. Like, they were no care to the ball. You need to hold the ball in these games, take the pressure off your centre halves. We've never done that.
We may as well go through the game. Dortmund go ahead through an Emre Can penalty. 7 minutes in, and you're just thinking, here we go again. It's a penalty all day long. I genuinely do not have a clue how Bayern Gittins seems to be able to get through when I think Engels just loses complete track of him. The gap between the defence and the midfield tonight, ALISTER, was so alarming. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
Could I drove my wheelchair, your wheelchair, and Nathan's sticks through the back line,
And
the
the bus, I
fullbacks
think.
were terrible.
Aye. The
I mean,
whole the fullbacks were just shocking, to be honest. No one. I think the only time where Alistair Johnson genuinely get anywhere near Jamie Byron Gittins was in
was
like the
that tackle?
85th minute, which says it all. In those games, it's honestly unacceptable. Now we all understand that Borussia Dortmund have got better technical players than what we have. But the one thing that should not be lacking, now Alistair, you'll know this because you've seen a lot of Celtic European nights at Celtic Park and abroad.
What nights like this?
But if you go to the nights where we do get results, like under Strachan, under maybe Lennon at 2012, you're not telling me that Kevin Wilson's a better defender than Javier Mascherano, but we still managed to get a result because we fought. You're not telling me that Effie Ambrose is a better player than Lionel Messi, but we managed to get a result because we fought and we stuck together. That was just no there today.
The thing is, Josh, there actually isn't as much Celtic Park these days, but
It's a way.
every time we go aboard, we get this. That's actually it's psychological now.
And Nathan, I said something to you about psychological last week. Everybody was quite confident. And I said, I've got nothing to be confident about. And I probably said the same to you, Alistair, as well. I've got nothing to be confident about until I see evidence that we can go to a ground away, not get a result as much, but put in a decent performance. And I was right.
I mean, you look at the most disappointing thing. The fans were absolutely brilliant before the game and all that, and the
Even
never
during
walk
it,
alone,
you
things
could
like
hear
that.
them. Even during it, you could hear them.
Exactly. Even during the game, I mean, you look at it, it's like, we're Glasgow Celtic. I mean, my God, we're going to miss these players much. I don't know the mentality of these players, but my God, Celtic are a massive club, and we're going in with a mentality that we can't play football. It's that I genuinely can't understand it.
No, I think as I said later on, we'll come on a bit about Rodgers' tactics because I do think they need to be scrutinised of it because what tactics are very good. But then you think, right, we got up the park. Well, probably the only time we've genuinely went up the park, and it's a good cross, and then Maida's in there. It's a scrappy goal, but we go in. You're thinking, right, just calm down. This is where you're going to. This is where you're going to test. This is where you're going to see Celtic's mettle. Has they changed, or is it just going to be the same? And it's the latter, unfortunately. Not even, I think, like 40 odd seconds, 48 seconds later, Kareem Adeyemi is up there and scores. And you're just looking and thinking, like, that's basic stuff. That is basic. I look at Sparta Prague tonight, right? They went away to Stuttgart and got a one each straw. Is Sparta Prague bigger than Celtic? No.
Yeah.
So if you set up properly and do the basics right, there's a better chance you get result. By the way, Stuttgart beat Dortmund last weekend 5-1.
Wow.
And do you know what? See, if we do the basics right and it's still not enough and we've just been beaten by a bit of quality, fair fucks. Excuse my language, but fair fucks. But it is the most start thing for me, and it's probably for you as well, the lack of basics in terms of just kicking a football was just non-existent.
Keep the ball.
You couldn't keep the ball for 2 minutes, Alistair.
I know, mate, I know. And it's, you know what gets me? Every goal, if you look at it, was basically the same. It was them coming through, taking the ball off us, one pass and they're in.
They were direct when they got the ball.
Because
every goal's the same. If you go back and look, every goal's the same.
And we didn't seem to learn. We didn't seem to learn. We didn't seem to learn that Dortmund are going to come at you in pace. So we can't play this high line nonsense. Whatever formation we play in Europe just doesn't work. I've said that for a long time now. It might work at home, and I think it will still work at home. Because you can have a go at teams like Club Brugge and Young Boys, but Dortmund, Atalanta, Villa, you can't away from home.
But what I find utterly ridiculous, right, is like even the biggest teams in Europe change their tactics when they go away from home, like Arsenal, you know, they change their tactic to be a bit more defensively solid. It's so naive to think we can go to the Signal Iduna Park and play the way we've been playing against teams like St Johnstone. It just doesn't happen. It's stupid. It genuinely is.
It's madness.
Well, Neil Lennon said at a point, I think, in the 7th goal, and he said, well, it's insanity. You're doing the same thing, expecting different results. That just doesn't go for the night. That goes for PSG home and away. That goes for Barcelona in the Nou Camp. That goes for Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. That goes for Atletico Madrid and the Metropolitano. Bayern Munich, add that away from home. We were hammered there as well. Now, the scoreline was hammered, but if you go back and watch the chances that, we were what I'm trying to say is, not one of those games have we been defensively sound.
When was the last time we actually got a good result away from home?
Anderlecht.
In 2017, 2018.
Is that the one where Kieran Tierney got that assist? Or played
yes,
that
that's the one.
That's the last. That is actually the last. Is it?
My God, I haven't ever even been in secondary school. That's mad.
It's the last away result we've got in Europe.
Away from home.
It was Anderlecht.
At Champions League level. Anderlecht.
You go back, see the last. If you were to talk about the whole, not even Champions League level, right? Let's bring in Europa League. The last result we were actually defensively alright away from home in Europe was Lazio in 2019. 5 years ago. Like, come on, man. But that's just no good enough.
No, it's not.
Oh, you go, Nathan.
No, you go.
I was just going to say, if you talk about Champions League, the last time we were competitive in a Champions League, n- I mean, just say for argument's sake we get top 24. We'll need to be defensively sound because if we are lucky enough to get a playoff, we'll no need to second leg because we'll fall like a deck of cards.
Aye, we can't do that.
Mm.
You can't. You need to be controlled in two legs. Like,
Yeah.
and aye, the level is really high, but the issue tonight wasn't even just the level of player; it was the basics.
Mm. It, it seemed also like the players weren't even running either. Like, I don't know about you, but the amount of times I've seen Bernardo and Engels in particular, they were the two for me that just I just couldn't understand it. Like just jogging back, or like they're so high up, almost playing as strikers, and you're like, you need to go back. Like your team's getting attacked. Like it just didn't look like they were willing to run. Like they just
Be-
weren't moving. There was no intensity to actually try and win the ball back.
If
And
you're
then they
talking
did
about
win it back.
obviously them playing high up, obviously they put it domestically. I don't think they've been
No
told to play
options.
a different
No
way.
options.
I don't think
Mm.
they've been told to play a different way in Europe, or learning a different. No, you can't just switch how you're playing with a flick of a switch. But Arsenal are going to need to adopt a different way of playing because this is going to get us nowhere. And see if we do qualify next season, we're going the same again and having the same discussions every year. Doesn't
No
matter the
improvement.
manager, it doesn't matter the players. There's clearly something fundamentally wrong when it comes to us in European football, especially Champions League football.
I
The,
mean,
Mm.
the, the, and the thing is, we got this the Bratislava result, which, at the time I was like, right, good result, but let's see where the bar is. There's no bar. It was just and I don't want to take this away from him, but what it looks like is Slovan Bratislava are just worse than us. Because, and I was hoping they proved us wrong the night and we're like, no, but there is a change. There's no change whatsoever.
guys, do you know how we're going to get a playoff? Because we've been lucky with the fixtures.
I mean, relying on other people's results.
Aye. That's the only way we're getting in the top 24.
It's
I
just,
know.
and then, Amy, he helps his Celtic a hat-trick before half-time. And then
Oh, thank God they went off.
you're 5-1 down at half-time.
I,
In
I,
a
I don't.
Champions League game.
I don't get all this playing out for the back nonsense as well when we are that. I mean, then like sometimes you just need to punt the ball. But try to play these passes, and Maeda was trying to turn out, and I'm like, just pass the ball. It's decision making at this level, and the players obviously haven't got the decision making skills because some of the passes and things like that, you're just like, why are you even doing that? Passing a ball when there's three guys around somebody. I honestly just don't get it, to be honest.
Alistair, it was kind of just at the point at half-time, you're just like, game's done.
Do
And
you know,
it's,
do you know the Soburn thing? It could have been 7-1 at half time.
aye. And Brendan Rodgers and Callum McGregor said after the game, we're a bit unlucky because every mistake we made was punished. Welcome to the Champions League.
Yeah, I know. And I
Welcome to
feel
Champions League. Take a
I've
seat.
heard, I've heard Carl McGregor and I've heard Carl McGregor, Scott Brown, uh, and all them say that, but it's still happening. It's still
Aye.
happening. And
No, I
I'm
know
not here
it's
about Carl McGregor
no.
and Brendan Rodgers here. But if you're telling me, I don't care if you're playing Real Madrid, Borussia Dortmund or the best team in world football. But I don't think 7-1
We shouldn't be
is,
losing 7-1 at
is
Borussia Dortmund.
acceptable by any team.
No.
Especially when you score an equaliser, by the way.
Aye. And I think at that point,
I mean,
you've kind of weathered that, maybe that storm, but them scoring, and because we spoke a lot as well.
It must have been 3 goals in about 20 minutes.
Well, Maida scored
The
9
sixth,
minutes in,
9,
Chan
9.
scored 7, and then Adeyemi scored in the 11th minute.
Yeah. No good
So,
enough.
it's at the point because I think we spoke a lot about when it comes to Celtic conceding Europe, right? If you look at games, they concede one and you think, right, that's it over. But then you think you might have overcame that when we scored the Maida.
Mm.
And I don't know, well, would the game be different if we kind of seen we didn't concede straight after? I don't know. But you should not be conceding straight after. You should try and get somewhat of control in the game. Aye, right for kickoff. You should be trying to get a bit of control in the game.
Yeah.
And we just never done that.
Nah. I mean, if you actually look at the goal they scored, it was about 3 players all ran to the one ball and just left a big massive space in the middle. You know, they were ball hunting.
They were on the same goals, Nathan. They were on the same goals.
I think there was a severe head loss when it came to, because I just think people just became an individual job and had to try and fix the problems.
I don't want to say that, right, but I think the players chucked it.
I would agree. They looked flat as anything.
They looked flat. They looked spooked, to be honest.
They looked shocked.
I don't know.
Well, I can tell you a group of people that weren't shocked. The Celtic supporters. Because we've seen this how many times?
Exactly. And, I'm going to speak about Brendan Rodgers because it cannot be said now. He's been now part of statistically 3 of the worst results in Celtic's European history. The 7-1, was it 7-0 in Barcelona, actually?
Yeah.
7-0.
7-0 in
7-0
Barcelona.
after 65 minutes.
Aye. 7-0 in Barcelona. 6-0 against Atletico Madrid. And then 7-1 tonight in Dortmund. Now, I'm not by any means turning on Brendan Rodgers and saying, "Oh, get him out." No, it's not to do with that. But I do think Brendan Rodgers needs to spin this 4-3-3 plays in Europe because it just does not work. There is no defensive coverage, and we saw that tonight. There was such a disconnect. You can play that against St Johnstone because the defence should be able to handle that. But if we want to look above and do more in Europe, Scotland's good because that's without using a Brendan Rodgers phrase, that's your bread and butter.
Aye.
But if you want to look further, you're going to need to have a plan B, C, maybe even you're going to need to have umpteen plans for different situations. All the good teams have them. Arsenal have them. As Nathan used to tell them when they went to Atalanta last week. Got a good draw. They weren't playing their best, but they managed to. I know Arsenal get multi-million pounds and whatever. So I don't really expect. I didn't expect them again get a draw in Dortmund, but I didn't expect they shouldn't be getting turned over 7-1. I thought we'd passed all this.
I mean, I'll use a team for an example. Right? Look at Burnley under Sean Dyche a few years ago. Right, and they went through a transfer window only spending $1 million. Right, they kept all their players. Right, they didn't play good football, but they were hard to beat. And against the big teams, which Burnley were playing against, they were hard to beat. And Celtic just are not. We're trying to play intricate football against the world's best. We don't have the quality to break teams down like that. The outball was always out wide over the wings because Maida had the beating a Koto. I felt like when he was running, he was doing well.
10 minutes, he could probably have got him. I think that would have been an out ball. But we just didn't do it. That's not how we operated. Because we didn't keep the ball for more than 10 seconds, we couldn't get Maida get up against Kuto and trying to, get in behind him.
And and I'm going to mention 3 players, right? Kyogo, Scales, and Trusty. Now, if how do you love the guys? No,
Because exactly because we've only holding on to the ball for enough for players like Maida, Kun, Kyogo, the forward line and the defensive line. We've only the midfield for me. There was just that whole disconnect
Aye.
because if you're not getting the ball up the pitch, what do you expect Kyogo and Kun and Maida to do?
Well, I mean, let me come at a sin here, right? I'm going to mention Rangers, right? If you actually look at their midfield, right, when they played in Europe, say when they got to the Europa League, they had an engine room with physical guys, strong, that would cover the defence. We don't have that. We just don't, and that's what you need in Europe. You look at Big Emre Can; he's not the best player by any means, but he's just good at what he does in
walking
defence.
our team.
He'd walk into our team, man. He's not the best in terms of like the level of the Champions League now, like back in the day maybe, but he's still an outstanding player defensively. We just don't have that. And realistically, in Europe, you need that. Big teams like Arsenal have Rice, City, Rodri, and things like that. Teams need that. McGregor is a wee guy that are playing against big, tall midfielders. It doesn't work.
I think, and you know what? I think as well, like we're going to need, and it might, and maybe fans are going to have to deal with the fact that it's not going to be the nicest of football when we go to these away grounds, but we need to stop these hammerings every week, every year.
I
Totally.
said to Nathan when you were getting sorted, I said it's one a year at this rate.
It is.
Aye.
Well, annual pumping.
Because if you talk,
Aye.
even look at the Europa League when we're in that as well. The COVID
Load of
season we get
fun.
hammered every game. Now that was the COVID season. The Angie's first season we done no added bits. But if you look at maybe Bayer Leverkusen, remember we're leading, and we're still trying to play expansive football. You need to defend at times and dig deep. We don't seem to want to do that,
Yeah.
and that's our issue.
Well, I mean, did Rodgers not say in his press conference yesterday at this level, it's about decision making and knowing when to be compact, knowing when to, do things. And as much as we can put the blame on Rodgers, the players ultimately need to know that you just need to punt the ball up the line. Like it was one of the last goals. I don't know if it was the last one where Schmeichel's playing a chip ball out to Valley, and you're like, what you doing?
Yeah, and Alistair Johnson passes it and couldn't move it away.
Exactly. I'm like, what you doing? Just Alistair Johnson tried to play it to Ida. I'm like, what you? I'm baffled.
You know, it's a whole kind of baffling performance. It's not a surprising one for me.
Well,
Dortmund,
nobody one will watch again, I'll tell you that.
no, it won't. For me, it was Dortmund. Dortmund showed the difference between Celtic and Dortmund realistically. Dortmund, because Dortmund have got players that can hurt you, and then we're just amateurs pretty much at that
I mean,
point.
we've got players that can hurt teams as well, but we're just not
We don't
putting
use
the players in the decision to get. Like, realistically, I think we should have been playing long balls and getting Kyogo to chase down the defence, because that one of their defenders just
You
didn't
try
look
and get yourself
confident in the ball.
you try and get yourself up the park.
I
Exactly.
mean,
You try and
it's like, you know what it's like? It's like, you remember Spain under with Enrique? All the ball, but don't do anything with it when it comes to this level. And see, to be honest, we all like tappy football, but sometimes it's no one.
I know exactly. Just, I mean, just the final question, just to get it end off because I've ranted for about half an hour. But I'm realistic at the point. Obviously, we've still got 6 games left. We've got Atalanta, who are the Europa League winners, which is great. So I mean, in a way, if they could, Celtic could be a bit more compact, because surely to God they must learn something.
I
We've
don't
said it how many times?
I don't think Atalanta's got the raw pace
No, I don't
that
think they've got the pace,
Dortmund have.
but they know how to. They know how to. If you're indecisive at any point, at
Uh,
any part of the pitch, they know how to play through you. They ripped
look,
Yeah,
apart Bayer Leverkusen last
mm,
year. So
yeah.
where do we go? There needs to be a change, but what needs to be changed?
I would personally say this is a hot take, right? And you'll probably moan at me for it, right? But I would say in away games, I think Big Ida needs to start.
You know
Because
what? I'd agree with that.
because you need somebody that's going to like hold the ball. Like even if you look at an example like Lyndon Dykes for Scotland, isn't a really good player, but he's vital to win free kicks and drag us up the park. Kyogo never touched the ball tonight, no for his own fault, but you know, you look at your centre forward as a vocal point, and away from home, you need a physical presence.
And like when we say long balls, you don't. It's not just pump every long ball apart. You can
There's
still
no
play the ball
goalkeeper.
along the ground.
There's no
Aye,
goalkeeper. The goalkeeper.
you can still play the ball across the ground, but there's times that you just need to go long, put somebody like Slaughterbeck under pressure. So if they watched the game on Friday night against Bochum, I watched it. And they were hounding Slaughterbeck
The Celtic
because
coaching staff couldn't have watched it.
they were putting them under pressure. And see if it gets you a free kick up the park and a corner on a throw in, it's keeping the ball away for their goal.
That is common sense.
So I think that's where Celtic can still. I'm not saying Celtic need to stop playing football in Europe and go on fucking full Tony Pulis in Europe, but you can still play football. But you just need at times you need to just kind of tweak it and go at all right. Well, we can just do like you know what I mean. Just at times being under a lot of pressure, just get the ball up the pitch, try and win a free kick.
100%.
And we've got players that can chase down Kyogo, Maeda. He's quite quick. Oh, quite quick. He's fucking rapid.
Maida?
You've got
That's just put it.
Kuhn, who's pretty. He's got a bit of pace about him. So you've got
Kuhn
players
was
that have got
well
pace,
off it the night.
but I don't.
Well
Yeah, again, the whole team were. And you can't pick.
Kuhn's
can't.
pressing was awful. Like he was going when he just should have never gone.
That's what I meant.
But I think see with the pressing, I think that comes to what they've been told as well. Because
It's all the
only two
decision
that
making.
were pressing were Kyogo and Maeda. The rest, because you could see the gap between the midfield and the strikers.
aye, yeah, I think
The only two
as
that were pressing were they two.
aye. Well, as I've clearly said, Celtic need, the positive thing is we've still got games left. It's not the
And
usual
they're
group
winnable
campaign.
games.
It's not the usual group campaign where if you get beat off probably a thumping away, you're out contention to qualify for the next stage. We've got Atalanta next. We need to go there. We can't get hammered and just show a bit of fight. Show a bit that we've learned a bit new style, and then see when it comes to your teams, like young boys and your Club Brugge, then you can at Celtic Park
Go with them.
fire away.
Go with them.
You can go up and go at them because they're a level of teams. But when you come against a Dortmund, a Real Madrid, and Atalanta, who are above your level quite significantly, that's when you need to be a bit more ugly with the side of the game.
You need to be physical if you're in an away team as well. You need to lay your mark.
And that's the thing is, right? Look, comparing it. Look at Arsenal at the Etihad. Everybody's moaning because it's dark arts and all this rubbish, right? But sometimes that's what you need to do. Win fouls, just be arseholes, to be honest.
You know what I'm going to say here, guys? The last knockout tie we won was Barcelona 0, Celtic 0. against David Marshall was in goal and it was outstanding. And that was a back to the wardrobe, but it worked.
Aye. Well, I mean, as well as that, Lennon made another good point as well. He's like, if I think he was talking to Mialbi, I think that's who he was talking. He was
They
saying
both
that
the one to give him the job back in the showers.
he was saying that if they played the way that Celtic played tonight in terms of the wee passing instead of being physical,
I remember him saying, I think it was Mialbi who was talking.
aye, they'd be getting
But
what was that?
Marley with a free water bottle across the dressing room.
There's a reason Martin O'Neill is above Brendan Rodgers for me. And because
European
he didn't give a damn about how it looked, but by God it was effective.
Aye.
There's
But you'd
managers
rather
that do
win.
that all the time. Like, for instance, like, a lot of managers now, George Graham done it years ago, one goal and then shut up shop, but just defence. Arteta's kind of a mix between the both at Arsenal now. So you've got two, you're scoring a goal, shutting up shop, absorbing the pressure, counter, bang, 2-0.
Ancelotti, he's kind of like that as well.
That's what I think Celtic need to adopt. They need to use a counter-attacking assets that we've got with Maida and Kuhn and Kyogo, Bernardo's. So he can, but Engels can. There's no
Stringer
reason
pass.
why not.
Can we have two managers? Brendan Rodgers for Scotland and Steve Clark for Europe. That's what we're needing.
But I think
You're laughing, but it's true.
I think
Aye.
for the Atalanta game, there's going to need to be a tweak. They're going to, because if we see another thumping like that, I think there is going to be questions of how do we actually go in Europe?
We had a good goal difference. Now we're down to -2.
Aye. After winning 5-1 in MATCHDAY 1. But I think you're going to ask, man, the match. What's the point?
The fans.
Celtic fans, aye. I thought the fans, as we've said, were magnificent, made the journey on that.
Thank God I never.
I thought the "We'll Never Walk Alone" was decent before the game, but apart from that, Dortmund absolutely
Although
run it.
I
Man
didn't
of the top.
understand why it was a German singer.
Oh, they're German, is it?
Well, they're in Germany.
No, but you can play the record. Everybody knows the words. What the heck?
But I will probably going to end that there. That's been post-match reaction for Borussia Dortmund 7, Celtic 1.
3 weeks for another pump.
We're back through the week as we build up to Ross County Dingwall. Until then, sweet cheese later and hail hail.